Order of introducing the material. It's very important how we introduce the material. We want to make it as accessible as possible to each student. So we start not in the order of the things the way they'll appear in the bar mitzvah, but in taking the most complicated first. So we start with a haftarah. It's the longest. It's also printed. There's nothing extra to remember. And we start with that. I start with teaching the trope. Can be divided into sections. We have trope, and this is not the traditional way of teaching trope. It's a way that I've found to be the most successful and what I learned from my teacher. We start with trope that appears in every single pasuk or sentence. And then after that, we'll go to the trope that appears less frequently. And we also introduce combinations so that every trope that we learn, they learn what comes logically after that and to put them together. So I start with teaching, as I said, the end of the sentence, the sof pasuk. And then I teach what's called mercha tipacha, tipacha mercha. Then we learn the combination of mercha, tipacha, mercha, sof pasuk. Then we learn munachet nachta. Then we learn mercha tipacha, munachet nachta, tipacha et nachta. We learn those combinations. Then we go on to teach mapach pashta, zakef katon. It's actually called munach zakef katon, but I teach it in the shorter format because it's easier to learn and easier to sing to. After we've learned those tropes, and each one of these takes a whole lesson, a common mistake of new teachers is to try to cram too much material into each lesson. It's only confusing. So one new trope each lesson. And sometimes if the student hasn't been able to learn it, we don't introduce a new trope. One new trope each lesson. We put them together with examples, obviously from the haftarah, which are recorded at the end of each session. Then after the student knows these basic trope, we go to the bracha, the blessing before the haftarah, because it uses the trope. And we learned that. There are only 3 words, Baruch atah Adonai, in the middle, that are different trope. At first I teach those as a song. And I want the student to listen to it a lot, but he doesn't, or she isn't responsible for it in the beginning. After teaching those basic trope, then we go to the second stage. And I tell the student, wow, you've learned this. I give them a pat on the back. We go to the second stage, and that's teaching each sentence, each pasuk, in the order that it comes. So any trope that comes in that sentence, that's what I'm going to be teaching. So there's no way I can predict what it's going to be. Each haftarah is different. So then the student, in the bulk of time of 2 months, 2.5 months, has learned the haftarah. I introduce the blessings that come after the haftarah. These are not according to trope, but there are some patterns in them. So I teach the patterns first. And there's an opening pattern. Baruch samchenu ala Torah. I teach that. I also teach the ending pattern. Shekol devarav emet batzedek. Magen David. Then I teach the Baruch atah Adonai pattern. Baruch atah Adonai. And then even in that first lesson where I've taught the blessings after the haftarah, we put them together, and I already teach for the student to wait for the congregational response. So it's Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch hu Baruch Shemo, Magen David, Amen. So that from the beginning, the student is practicing and learning to wait, to leave a space for the congregational response. After teaching the haftarah and all the blessings after, then we go to the maftir. Usually the maftir is 3 psukim, 3 sentences, and I teach it as a song. First I teach the brachot before and after the Torah reading.
Baruch Adonai Borach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Leolam Va'ed. And if a student and his family has been coming to the synagogue, even occasionally, they're hearing these 8 times each time they come, so they're a little bit familiar. I start with something that gives them confidence in starting new material, something they've heard before. Usually my emphasis is on slowing it down, making it more melodic, hearing each word. This is where they're going to be presenting themselves the first time in their bar bat mitzvah. Then after the blessings, after the brachot, as I said, I teach the maftir as a song. If it's 5 psukim or longer, then I'll teach the second set of trope. For some of the special readings, the maftir can even be 20 psukim long. Or if a student wants to learn more than the basic, if they want to learn another whole aliyah or the whole parasha, then obviously we'll be learning the second set of ta'amim together.